Just another day in the life of a real estate agent in a small town, but super excited today. I am getting a few things finished up here in the office and then planning on going to a marketing event. And it is going to be at Crove Media downtown. And super excited to hear Sam Hutson, a good friend of ours, speak about marketing and hopefully get some good tips and tricks from him on how we can do a better job at our agency and with our marketing and advertising, and just even personally with my own marketing and advertising. It's always a struggle sometimes to know what to say or what to do. And sometimes, too, it's just hard to put yourself out there for people because, everybody judges everything that you do or say. So you just have to have thick skin and be able to take criticism, whether it's positive or negative, and just go on with life and not care too much about what other people think. But that's the really hard part behind being in the spotlight sometimes, or putting yourself out there for everybody to see. I've also just turned 40 this year, and it is halfway through the year. So setting some really high goals for myself for the rest of the year and looking back to see what's worked and what's not worked. Sometimes it just takes a little perspective to figure out what it is you need to pivot from or change, or just keep going with what it is you're doing that is working. Sometimes as well, it's good to just look back and also just reevaluate strategies and to be able to come up with more strategic things that you can put into your life so that it saves you more time in what it is you're doing. But super excited for the event here, and just gonna leave it here for Sam and the AFF organization to present these really cool presentations. I hope you enjoy.
Federation is, for those of you who might not know, there are chapters of AAF all over the country. I have been involved in AAF in Memphis, and then also up in Washington, D.C., where I moved from. And AAF is a great organization where people who are creative or who work in the communication field can get together with their peers in the industry. In most cities, as ours has become, you usually have the people who buy those types of goods and services, and then you have those people who sell and create those kind of goods and services coming together each month to learn more about tips and tricks and trends and things going on in the industry. But it also helps you connect with a group of people who are like thinkers. Most of us who work in advertising or marketing or communications have similar ways of thinking when it comes to the things that we do and the passions that we have. And so it's a great opportunity to find friends and make connections and find other folks in the industry. I'm going to introduce our guest today.
Hey friends, can y'all hear me? Yeah? All right. So my name is Madison. I'm a very proud member of the AAF board. If you're on the AAF board, will you do me a favor? Please raise your hand. Okay, I would like to give all of these lovely people with their hands raised a round of applause, just because of the amazing work that they do in the part of the board. I really think that it deserves to be recognized, especially for hosting events like this, like Scott said, where AAF members and AAF board members can all hang out together and eat catfish. Anywho, so I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker today, Sam Hutson. He is the owner of Crove Media and Crove Food, as well as seasonings here. If you haven't had a look at them, I'm sure he's going to talk about them. They look fantastic. He allowed for us to come here today and host an AAF lunch in his beautiful building in the beautiful downtown Paris. So without further ado, Sam Hutson.
Can y'all hear me okay? Well, thanks for that lovely introduction. Y'all are probably going to learn a lot more about me today than you'd like to know. That's kind of the way these things go. So, as she said, my name is Sam Hutson. I know a lot of these faces in here, and I look forward to meeting even more of y'all. I don't know everybody, but those who do know me as a few different things. First of all, I'm the video guy. In this one, in this photo, I'm the sweaty video guy on a hot June day that no one wants to be around because it smells a little bit. But a lot of what we do is video based, and I'm therefore the video guy. Now, the next thing a lot of people know me as is the food guy. I love to cook, and you probably noticed that first thing you saw me. This guy definitely loves to cook, and he probably loves to eat a little bit more. And that's very true. Now, the third thing is, I'm sure I've got this in common with a lot of y'all. I'm a huge fan of Nicolas Cage's flawless performance in National Treasure. And in honor of that, we're going to have a little bit of a theme today. And I want y'all to be very interactive with us. We're going to have fun. If you know me, I don't like to be average. I don't like to be boring. I just want to be different. And I think that same theme works really well in marketing. So, a little bit about the business, Crow Media LLC. We're here in the studio. We do primarily videography, a lot of photography, some graphic design, a lot of social media work. This place is great. No day is ever the same. Yesterday, this entire place was torn apart. We were building out sets for a different project. The day before that, I can't even remember that far. We're always into something. We do a ton of tourism marketing, a lot of food-based marketing, a lot of product development marketing, and things like that. In general, though, we do content marketing. For Crow Media, we do that for our clients. For Crow's Food Company, we do that for ourselves. I mentioned I love to cook and I love to make videos. Some people, like my wife, might tell me I just love attention. Now, that's probably true to some degree, but with Crow Food Co., we started making recipe content because we had cameras and I love to cook. 2020, that's kind of when we started, it was about January. Obviously, we know that a few months later, everybody was inside looking at their phones. So we were able to really take advantage of that and pretty quickly grow an audience up to about 250,000 followers. Now we're up to about 700,000 across platforms, which allowed us to start doing the food side of things as a serious part of our business. That's why we invested in this building so we can have the kitchen here where we make a ton of content. It's been one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. Being able to work with some of these major brands like, first of all, Allegro Marinade. Great. If you haven't tried it, you have to. Sam's Club, Traeger Grills, King's Hawaiian Rolls, those little Hawaiian rolls that are so good. So, with that in mind, I'd like to go ahead and move on to the next part. And I told you this is National Treasure themed, right? Well, in order to keep this from being too boring, y'all, Travis knows me, I'm a nerd. I can talk about the statistics of marketing. No one cares about that. I wanted to have this National Treasure theme where there's 3 clues hidden throughout this presentation. Now, don't worry, the walls aren't going to start coming in, the floor's not going to start filling up with water if you don't find them, but the first 3 people to find the clues will get a treasure of their own in the form of our rubs. So, keep your eyes out, they're hidden throughout here. The first one to get it, you win the treasure.
We just scream it out.
You'll see, you just do whatever it says, you'll see. Could be. And of course, since I do the food and the marketing, I had to call this 10 recipes for modern marketing success. And then the way I wanted to structure this was 10 lessons from 100 million video views. So with this, we're going to have 10 different lessons, and I have an example with each to kind of show you what we've had success with, and quite frankly, what we've had failures with. Because I really believe that you learn more from failures than anything else. And we're all here today to try to learn from one another. I've also left some time at the end of this for questions, and I really, really implore people to think of questions throughout this. Me personally, that's how I learn and grow the most, is from experiences from other people or from asking questions directly. When I started this, I didn't have this network of people, and I would have given anything to just have some of the basic advice that I had to learn the hard way along the way. So I look forward to those questions at the end. And to start things off, the first lesson is to figure out why you're making content. And this is an overall, a macro view of things. It seems obvious to people. But far too often, we start a project. But what's up? Oh, did you notice the first clue here? You didn't. You got to stand up and raise your hand. So you got it first. That was fast. All right. Which flavor would you like? Beef, poultry, pork, or fajita? All right. There you go. First credit. All right. If anything, it's going to be interesting. So, and getting back to that first content, why you're making content. A lot of times it seems obvious. We need to sell more. Sell, and that's what it feels like. For me, I really preach to our clients to get out of that sell mode and start talking about creating value. Of course, we want to sell. I look at marketing as a tool for sales. And that's not just in business. And the first example we're going to get into is definitely outside of business. How many of y'all are married in here? Quite a few. So y'all understand the same struggle that I have every night. I'm selling to myself and my wife. What are we going to eat for dinner? It's as simple as that. And she'll tell you that she picks every meal, but I'll tell you she picks one out of every maybe 20 meals. I'm always selling to her something. I had to sell myself to her. Now, the first example is the most successful campaign I've ever had. I told y'all I don't like to be average, and I like to be creative. When I proposed to her, I wanted to embarrass her as bad as I could. So we went to Knoxville, downtown Knoxville, Market Square, where we had one of our first dates. I made a big video. I told her I was late for her dad's dinner, and next thing you know, the video gets starting to play is me on screen. I get to, come out there and surprise her, and she had a great opportunity to really embarrass me by saying no, but she didn't. And I'll use this as an example because it's probably my most successful marketing campaign. She said yes. It was a great experience for us, something we'll never forget. And I like to say that, why are you making the content, or why are you marketing in general? It's not just to try to sell things. It's to create value. Whether it's at home, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your church, whatever it is, content marketing should not just be to, here's what we have to come by today. Provide value as much as you can. And we're going to get into that a little bit more too. The next thing is to be creative. I have found that by far the best marketers I've ever worked with are the most creative ones. I really wish that I had an unlimited budget and I would have the game show. And I would probably be the only one, maybe some of y'all in here, but very few people would watch it. I would put, in a room, I'd put, I think the example here is get 5 creative people with a $10,000 budget versus a couple of non-creative people with a $100,000 budget. I would bet so much money that the creative people would have better success. One of the best examples of this, Skippy's Kitchen in Sacramento, California was voted the best burger in California, I think in like 2014. And every account I've heard from people who've been there, it's just an average burger. They got really creative with their marketing, and there's a line out the door every day for Skippy's Kitchen. You walk up to the counter, you order, you say you want a burger, fries, milkshake, whatever. It's $11.36. They hand you a card or a deck of cards with 52 cards in it. They have one joker. If you randomly draw that joker, your meal's free. The most they've ever spent on a single meal was $117 when a Girl Scout troop came in and won. And what happens whenever they win? They post on social media, they go crazy. It's a super effective form of cheap marketing that has, again, like I said, there's a line out the door every day for that. It's not because they spend the most money, but it's because they're the most creative. Each of you who work with, whether you have a full marketing department with 30 people or whether it's just you, if you can empower those who are creative, even if you're not, and that's fine. Not everybody's creative. I didn't think I was. I thought growing up that if you're creative, it meant you like to paint. Dad told me, here's a shovel, go to work. So for me, understanding that I was creative took a long time. But empower those in your group that are creative, and I promise you, you're going to start seeing better results. For me, one of the best examples in our content has been this wheel of flavor. It's a very simple concept. I'll put a lot of food items. Someone tells me their favorite food, let's say mac and cheese. And it lands on mac and cheese pizza. Don't know how I'm going to make that, but we've had such success with this concept. It has a lot of different principles in it that creatively work for social media. One of our recent examples, I love Mexican food. Birria is a very popular Mexican food right now. It's basically a beef roast with all these Mexican spices. It goes for so long, it makes the best tacos in the world. It's a really trendy thing on the internet. So I made some birria. Now it's probably my favorite food there is. And I put it up against this wheel. It landed on pasta. And the concept just works so well. It's so creative and it catches people's attention. And we're gonna analyze this video towards the end. But I'll show you here just to give you an example.
I'm making some birria, so let's put it up against the wheel. Birria pasta? Let's see what we can do. This is so good. This actually pairs together really, really well. I would go to a restaurant to eat this. Listen, I'm calling this birria ravioli, and it is so good. Let me know what else you want to see us put against the wheel. I want some crazy ideas, because with those crazy ideas, you get stuff like birrioli, which I would put on a menu at a restaurant. This is really good.
So, a little eccentric, maybe, but this is a really successful video for us. It's about 3.2 million views. We've got a lot of new followers from this. This is an example of being creative to really push your marketing forward. And again, for me, for the food brand, the marketing is just making recipe videos. For y'all, it's totally different. It may not be as easy to get creative, but even dedicating time for your more creative employees to just brainstorm. I mean, you'll see, these crazy videos of Google and Apple who have $1 million lounges for their people, and it's because they see the value of being creative and really pushing for that.
I'm making some beer.
So, next thing is I think it's important to understand the medium. Now, what does that mean? For me, it's TikTok, it's Facebook, it's YouTube, it's things like that. I do a lot of social media work. For you, it doesn't have to be. One of the earliest examples of content marketing was John Deere, I believe in 1895. They put out, I think it's called The Furrow. It's the first magazine that was for a brand. And that's content marketing. For some of y'all, it's blogs. For some of y'all, it's radio, it may be newspaper, whatever it is. I think it's vital that you understand the platform and the medium you're working with. And I think it's important, particularly with social media, for y'all to start thinking of it more as the product that Facebook or TikTok is selling, because they are selling a product. They're selling attention. A lot of things such as not putting a link in a caption because it goes away from Facebook. They don't want that. They want you on the platform as long as you can possibly be there so they can show you more ads. Give them what they want. They want your people there. Don't encourage your audience to go away until it's the right time. Maybe put the link in the bio rather than in the caption because they don't want to push you out for that kind of thing. And the longer your audience is on their platform, the more they're going to work with you to make sure you're successful. The example, I've seen this far too often, but don't be afraid to ask your young intern to help with TikTok. I'll be the first to admit, I had one brand who wanted to do some work with us and they wanted me to do that video. I had been posting on TikTok for 2 years. It took me about 4 hours to figure out how to do that. And that's fine. That's not the kind of content I made. It took me a while to figure out, but I had a young kid who was there who helped me do it. Y'all have those same people. If you're not on the platform, it's hard to really grasp what they're wanting. It's easy to put out inauthentic content that's going to get 40 views because it's not made for that platform. And the example I want to show y'all is Central Houston Nissan. These folks are being extremely creative, number one, and they really understand the platform. And I have 2 videos for them I'm going to show y'all. They're very fast. These videos do not work on Facebook. They would work on Facebook Reels. They don't work on YouTube for a long form video, but they're perfect for this, and they're getting so many views. So the first one here, and this is it's about 30 seconds.
Come get knocked out of this Central Houston Nissan.
So fast. The second one, and they've had a ton of these.
Hey folks, come to Central Houston Nissan where you get your lifetime warranty on new and used.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all that y'all need to do this, although I would love to see you go down the slide again with some of these, but they understand the platform, and these are just 2 examples out of about 20 to 30 they have that are the same concept, and it is perfect for this platform. If they turned it around and took their, Houston radio or news station 30-second ad, put it on their widescreen format, you see where they're getting 15 and 20 million views, that would get 140 views. That's not made for that platform. The platform doesn't want to push it out. And their audience doesn't care for that. They're not going to sit and watch a 3-minute video about the warranty that they have. But they'll garner your attention like this because they're using the platform as best as it can be used. The next thing, going back to what the platform wants, you got that quick. That was very quick. All right, we got poultry, beef, and pork. What do you think? It's a good call. This is on. You can put this on Cheerios. Would be good. All right, no, thank you. All right. So being consistent is one of the most important things that these platforms want. If they know that you're going to be reliable, you're going to show up, you're going to make content consistently, they're more likely to push you out. Simple as that, because they want to be able to show somebody, they know what they're getting with this, with their audience. So it goes back into understanding what the platforms want, like we just mentioned, and consistency is probably, I would say it's either the most or second most important factor that they're looking for. We had a ton of success as soon as we started by posting daily for 3 months. It was incredibly difficult for me to post a new video that often. And when it happened, we went from 0 to about 250,000 followers on TikTok in 3 months. And granted, that was right when quarantine happened, so there's more attention on phones and things like that. When we've been able to be consistent, we've grown more than any other time. And I know what you're probably thinking, well, why did you stop? I get it. It's difficult. I put this on there, and it's one of the more important things is that it's so important to be consistent, but be realistic with yourself. That's one of the failures I've had. I said last year, we got the kitchen up and running. I said I was going to have a new video every day for a year, because I believe that if I do that, we will get to where we want to be, and the food can be our primary part of the business. I lasted like 2 weeks. It wasn't realistic. Granted, I had some help leave, and I had a couple unforeseen things that kind of slowed us down. I just went from a 2.5 month dry spell, not posting anything at all. I'm guilty of this as much as anybody. With that being said, I understand the value, and I've seen it. Again, preaching on the fact that we learn more from our failures than anything else. That's something that I've seen to work, and I've not done, and it hasn't. So I know that being consistent. So what's a realistic goal that you can set to be consistent with content marketing? Is it once a week? For me, that's what it is for us right now. I be able to manage the workload we have and do food content. Once a week is about as good as we're going to get. So be realistic with that and set goals so that you can be consistent. Now, number 5, don't be boring. And what does that mean? I'm not trying to call anybody out here by any means. I've been guilty of it too. Who serves anything from happy Tuesday? I've done it. It doesn't provide value. One of my favorite quotes when it comes to content is that good content should either entertain or inform, or entertain, inform, one of the two. So you're providing value either through the entertainment side of things or they're learning something. Great content does both. For me, on the food, I try to make fun of myself. I try to be entertaining, but at the same time, you're learning how to cook a new recipe. You're getting value from both sides of things. And of course, occasionally you have to put out that sales post, and that's fine. How can you provide value through that? That's one of the things I've always preached to our clients is how do you provide more value? Because if you do that, the algorithm knows that, people enjoy it more. And quite frankly, the best way to figure that out is ask yourself and be frank with yourself. Would you want to watch or consume the content you just made? I've not posted stuff because I realized I was posting just to be posting. And that's fine. It goes back into being consistent. How can you be consistent without having to throw out the post that doesn't service your clientele or your audience? That's been one of the biggest things for us. And a lot of times it's taking a concept and getting creative with it and saying, how can we tweak this so that it's providing more value? Maybe it's entertainment. A great example is our Valentine's Day sale. We have a 4-pack of rubs. We wanted to sell a Valentine's Day bundle with a gift bag with some chocolate. We wanted to target females, who maybe not get the males as much of the Valentine's Day gifts. The guys got to get the flowers, the chocolates, all that. I wanted something to make it easy for the girls to get the guys. So we got creative with it.
Tampons. Alright, now that all the guys have scrolled past this video, we need to talk about tampons. I've already called that special someone and confirmed they've already placed an order for flowers and chocolate for Valentine's Day. And he said he can't wait to see what you're getting this year. You are getting something, right? Why not get him something romantic that will lead to an unforgettable experience? Like the smoking hot Valentine's Day gift set from Crow Food Company. Our gift set comes wrapped in a Valentine's Day theme with all 4 of our flavorful rubs. It also includes an exclusive recipe and step-by-step video that you can only get by purchasing this set. It also comes with a You're Smoking Hot Valentine's Day card and a box of chocolate to show them how you really feel. And you don't have to tell them this, but this is also getting something for yourself. These spices are amazing and are great for both indoor and outdoor cooking.
We have dozens of recipes, video tutorials that have tens of millions of views and countless raving reviews. Order now because there are a limited number of these to send out before Valentine's Day. Visit crowfood.com to guarantee your Valentine's Day is sweeter than our pork roll and spicier than the fajita roll. Thank God. Can't really let y'all talk me get dressed up like this. So, there's a couple principles we've touched on here that this incorporates. I think it's pretty creative, and hopefully it's a little bit entertaining. At the same time, we have a lot of value to offer in the product. I truly believe in this product we're selling. I know that it's something that they'll both enjoy. So in that sense, we're able to be entertaining to some degree, and we're able to provide value for them in the form of the product we're giving. Now, the next thing I really think is important is to be realistic with yourself and understand your talents. I've never been embarrassed. My wife will tell you that's not true, but I am very rarely embarrassed. My sister-in-law Mallory can tell you it's just I'm fine with being in the spotlight. I'm fine with embarrassing myself and embarrassing those around me. That's not the case for everybody. I love being on camera. It's something that I've gotten used to. I'm awful at writing. If you ask me to write copy, I'm going straight to ChatGPT because I'm not good at it. Some of y'all are great at taking pictures, but you're not good at singing or whatever it is. Understand what you're good at, and those around you especially are good at, and really empower those people. If video's not where you're going to make the best content, try writing blogs. They're very valuable. At the same time, I use this example. A lot of Henry County folks here know my buddy Jay Travis. He's a dentist, he's a county commissioner, he's a great guy. He can sit and talk to that wall for 2 hours. That's just who he is. I've had him on camera 3 times, and every time he freezes and cannot do anything. That's not his forte. I don't mind being on camera, so I understand my talents. I don't mind being embarrassed. My wife, a little different story, but I don't mind holding a box of tampons and trying to catch your attention with an engaging hook. So realize, be honest with yourself, understand what you're good at. Of course, you can get better at all of these different forms of content marketing, but be realistic with yourself. And if you're not the person that needs to be on video because you're not good at it, quite frankly, you're not good at it, find the person in your group who is and let them represent it. And find the best way that you can create content without forcing it, because that's one thing we've consistently seen. If we're doing a video for an accounting firm, God, that's boring. And they want their senior partners to talk on camera, and one of them clearly doesn't want to do it. Therefore, I'm sure y'all have heard AI and you've had it slammed down your throats. I get it. I have too. And quite frankly, I'm tired of hearing that buzzword as well. However, the work we were doing 5 years ago, I would be embarrassed of today. And I hope in 5 years from now, it's the same thing. Especially in this industry more than most, because there's new technologies every day. We also offer our employees 1 hour every week to go learn something, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be about media, it could be about your favorite book, anything, just actively learning, because it changes so quickly in this industry. And AI in particular, although we're all tired of hearing about it, it has changed my business dramatically, more so in the past year than anything else. And I'm going to show you a few examples of that. Some of y'all may have heard of ChatGPT. It's a very powerful AI tool that helps with, for us, it's content ideation, script. Well, I told you I'm a bad writer. I actually had ChatGPT help me write the title of this. That's how the catchy recipes for modern marketing success came through. For YouTube videos, it'll do our keyword research. It'll analyze our video and it'll write out the recipe for us, and I go in and fine tune it. How many of y'all have just sat there looking at a Facebook caption, deleted it, rewrote it, deleted it, and tried something new over and over again? No one knows how difficult that is after about the 15th one. It just gets so monotonous. Creating 10 caption ideas for me, it's a great tool that everybody can utilize. It's free. You obviously have paid versions, but it's something that is tremendous. And I put at the bottom here, OpenAI-Sora. My life's about to change because this company who has ChatGPT has a new video service, AI service, where you can basically type in a prompt. Give me a 10-second snippet of a person in Hong Kong who's doing a dance wearing a red dress, and whatever you want it to be, and it is lifelike. Now, they haven't released this to the public yet. Stock footage is going out the door when this happens. It is. I'm waiting on the day I get to use this software. And again, it changes weekly. on what's available to us. Now, Photoshop and this new generative field has changed my life. I mean, it's crazy what I'm able to do now. Basically, you can analyze a photo, highlight whatever you want to change, just tell it to do it, and it's usually pretty accurate. Here's an example of my beautiful bride. We got married on my family farm. She loves the cows, wanted a picture with them, but then I was playing around with this when it first came out, and she's like, I wish I do have a couple from that setting that didn't have the cows, and in about, 15 seconds, they're gone. This is something I could have gone through, and I could have brushed out each cow, and I could have done this. It would have taken me, especially with this particular photo, probably a couple hours to look realistic. And for this, all I do is highlight the areas I want removed. It gives me 3 options, and it takes about 30 seconds. So for graphic designers, I wish I would have kept that out here. If you have a picture of this, and it's a 16 by 9, but you have something that needs to be vertical. Now I can just select that space, and I have negative space for a graphic designer to go in and add text. If I want to change the color of her dress, I can make it blue in no time. It's a super powerful tool we're able to use every day. And it's not just for photo. For us, we're starting to be able to use it for video. This is Leah Watkins, our director of schools here. We are doing a tourism video where if you're considering moving here, we wanted to have all these resources so you can know about the education system here, the healthcare system here, events, things like that. So they're less catchy and upbeat, they're more informative after you've gotten out that top of the funnel and you're considering coming here. Well, we were on a time crunch and didn't get to really set up anything cinematic. She only had 15 minutes. I had to set it up in her office, and quite frankly, it's not a very pretty setting. So you can see here.
Well, welcome to Henry County. I'm Leah Watkins. I'm the director of Henry County School System here in Henry County, Tennessee. We're so excited that you're interested in our community, and we welcome you to learn more about education here.
So, pretty cut and dry. I framed this where she doesn't cross this little line here, right? So, I was able to use generative fill, and I go into Photoshop, and I basically cut that out. I'm able to give it different prompts. I want a window there, something looking outside. So we're playing around with different concepts, and eventually we learn how to use the prompts and whatnot, and we get a really pretty setting that we can use for this video. So it goes from what you originally saw.
Welcome to Henry County. I'm Leah Watkins. I'm the director of Henry County School System.
Now we have
here
a
in
pretty
Henry
setting
County,
using
Tennessee.
generative fill.
We're so excited
where you have an
that
outside
you're
looking
interested in our
window.
community, and
We can do that here. We can do that
about education.
with a little bit of forethought. I don't know if that's the right word. With a little bit of planning, we can really utilize that for video as well. Now, the scariest AI we're using is called Play.ht. There's a couple different versions of this. It's essentially, in the past, I have a little recording studio there for voiceovers. We have a voiceover script. We go in there, the client comes in, or I do it for them, and we have a voiceover. Well, now they don't have to come in. We can either use a pre-generated voice, and they can pick between 30 or 40 different options. If they want a guy with a southern drawl, or they want a New Yorker, or even someone from Britain. They type in what they want, it says it just like that. I can also now, if I have about 30 seconds of clean audio, I can go in and clone your voice. Great for what we do. We have a client out of Murray who is sponsoring something. We have an old video. They couldn't get in time to actually record it before the Murray State game they sponsored. I cloned their voice, I changed the script, cannot tell the difference. That's a great example of how that can be used. But all of this AI, you have to be very careful. It can be used for the wrong reasons. Think about elections coming up. Hearing, the opponent saying something just crazy is very easy to do now. Think about scamming people. I could easily scan my voice or anybody's voice and call their grandma and say, I'm in trouble, send me $1,000. Terrible, terrible uses for this. So with all of this AI, I implore you to have safeguards in place. Now, thankfully, this is not AI at all. Me and Scott were on the phone earlier this morning, and he was telling us some really big news, and I'm excited to share that with y'all today.
We are seriously considering adding a new exhibit at Discovery Park. I met with the board and they all agree. We believe Sam Hutson is beyond deserving of an entire exhibit dedicated entirely to him. After seeing him help a sweet old lady across the street, save a cat from a tree, and then donate 3 kidneys, I knew he was deserving of this prestigious honor.
I really appreciate that. It's a crazy honor. So, he's been on a few podcasts, if y'all didn't know, and his voice is out there. Unfortunately, they had to, take that back. They're not really getting an exhibit just for me.
Actually,
Yes.
you are.
All right.
You're announcing it today.
Well, truthfully, this took me about 5 minutes. So you can see how that can be used for the wrong reasons. I did it with Shelly one time and had her boss say, well, you deserve a raise, Shelly. And she does. She does deserve a raise, but I don't think it works. It can be used for great stuff. All of this AI can, but it can also be used for the wrong reasons. So as I'm going to schools and talking about some of this stuff, it's important that we keep these safeguards in place because it is terrifying stuff. Now, there are dozens of AI tools I use.
I'm going to steal the declaration of independence.
What's that?
I'm going to steal the declaration of independence.
That keeps everybody engaged at least. Congratulations, you're our grand champion. All right, moving on. The next thing I want to talk about is engagement. It may be obvious, but the more you have engagement, the better you're going to do, the more people you're going to reach. And whenever I'm planning out content, it's one of the most important things I think about. And I have a good example of this. Whenever we started, every video I would ask, what do you want to see us cook next? I find a comment, like in this one, they said, can you make some carbonara? And I make that. That encourages them to engage. The platform looks for engagement. I would say that's the number one tool that they're looking for. They like consistency. They want to see good content, but if you're getting people to engage with you, that is gold to them. That means that they not only like the video, but they like it enough to reach out and comment and get involved. That makes you like the platform more. That's probably the number one thing they're looking for. So creating content in mind of how you get engagement is a huge thing. And that kind of leads us into this whole concept of principle stack. I don't know how I came up with that term, but one of the things I've had a lot of success with, whether it's for our own stuff or if it's tourism, if it's whatever it is, if you take all these different principles and you stack them up on top of each other, I've found that the chance of success goes up exponentially. What do I mean by that? Well, we talked about engagement. How do I create a video that's going to increase engagement? So maybe I ask for, what do you want to see us cook next? Or I ask for comments, or what did you eat for dinner last night? Yada yada. Going through the comments and asking, so if someone leaves me a comment saying, that looked pretty good, I'll go in and say, thanks, Steve. What do you think we should cook next? So I'm asking them a question, meaning they're going to respond. That means that for each comment, we're getting 3 more comments. The platform sees that engagement rate, and it's so much more likely to push it out. On top of that, how do we keep your attention? Everybody knows, so the first 3 seconds of the video are the most important, especially for short form. For the video we looked at earlier, it starts off with a hook. As soon as you see this wheel, you're probably thinking you're getting cross, because that's what I was relating to. But it's catching you off guard, so you're grabbing their attention quickly. That's another principle. We can talk about the retention, that's the retention strategy. We talk about optimizing for the platform. TikTok wants to compete with Google and YouTube. They want you to, if you want to learn how to change a tire, you don't go to YouTube, they want you to go to TikTok. So to do that, they want you to have content longer than 1 minute. So if I make it 62 seconds, that's checking that box for them. If I create, again, just making good content on top of that, but if I take all of those different principles, that all these different things, it's increasing the chance. So I'm incorporating all of those into this. I'm going to walk through a couple of these.
I'm making some beer, so let's put it up against the wheel.
Right away, immediately starting with the content, especially on TikTok. Immediately grab your attention. Beery is a trendy thing right now. I mentioned that earlier. That's checking the box. We're grabbing your attention quick. That's checking the box. Go straight to spinning the wheel. Checking the box. Then once it lands on the pasta,
I'm making some birria, so
it's checking another box of how do you make birria pasta. If you're familiar with the dish, it doesn't really go with pasta. If we incorporate as many of these principles into each video, I've seen so much more success than that. I've done a lot of content for fun. I made some videos that I didn't think were going to do well. And they don't, quite frankly, but I make them for fun because I enjoy making them. I've had enough examples here to be able to prove that if you add these to as many of these principles to videos, you are going to have better success, especially with video content. It works the same for blogs. It's starting with a headline. It's no different. The best example of that is back in the day, how many companies were called AAA tire services and AAA printing because they wanted to be first in the phone book. That's SEO for that. That's adding as many of these different principles will help you be more successful. Last thing, and this is probably one of my most important things I want y'all to get out of this, is what is a successful piece of content? Because oftentimes it's how many views you can get. And sure, that's important. We've worked with some big brands that do not care at all how many followers you have, does not care how many viewers you have. They want to know what your engagement rate is. Are people interacting with your content? And having realistic expectations of, you know, if you're starting out with 100 followers on TikTok, it's going to be hard to start getting some views. It takes time. Understanding, and this goes back to the first point of setting those goals and having realistic expectations. None of this happens overnight, although you see it occasionally, especially on the short form content. You'll see someone blow up overnight and they're a one-hit wonder. That's fine. They might have made some money off of it, and that's great. It doesn't happen without being consistent, without having goals and understanding what you want to do. And the most important thing here is please do not buy followers. I've seen it far too many times. You buy followers and they don't engage with your content, they know they're fake, number one. The platforms will shut you down so quickly. People want to see, oh, well, we're getting this many views. And that's great, it is important. But having clear-cut expectations for what your content's going to do. Again, if you're selling a high-ticket item, maybe you need one person to buy. If you're doing real estate, you just need one person seeing that video. And making it for that right person is more valuable than making it for everybody. Every time I would highly recommend having those clear-cut goals before you get started. And understanding success. So one of the coolest things that's ever happened to us was Gordon Ramsay interacted with us. I woke up to text messages, people saying, I'm so sorry about that. This has got to be one of your lowest points. Because if you know Gordon Ramsay and you know him on TikTok, all he does is roast people. He gets on there and calls them names. Well, I tried for about 2 months to get him to roast me. I made a beef, his famous dish is beef Wellington, so I made a beef Wellington burger, and I made beef Wellington nachos. Butchered his food. Thinking surely he's going to see that, and he's going to roast me. That's my whole goal. Well, he didn't.
This is a next level cheeseburger.
Next level.
We're going to start off doing this just like we normally do with sauce.
Hold on, man. You're making a burger.
Pizza burger. We're also
A pizza burger? Kid, there's no such thing. Have you lost the plot? No, stop it. Pizza burger? What are you trying to do? Upset Italy?
In the middle of the grill.
I mean,
These for at least 5
no, stop.
flipping. Let's give them a
No, come on. The brody drinks, I beg you. I'll stop it. I mean, how to really piss off Italy and the New Yorkers. Really?
Shall we?
Okay.
That is.
So, why was that one of my most successful videos? I thought in the beginning of when to get his attention, because it's Gordon Ramsay, it'd be cool to have him see anything we did. And that was cool. Well, that led to 2 auditions for his show Next Level Chef on Fox. And we thought that was going to happen. I thought this January I'd be in Switzerland, I think, where they shoot it. Didn't happen. They want us to audition again, hopefully next season, but it's led to some really cool opportunities because, again, my expectations were just I hope I get on his radar, but it led to a lot of cool opportunities for us and be able to engage with his group. So, recap, and if you haven't been able to see these videos clearly or anything, I have a ton of examples of each of these bullet points that we can talk about. But I think that these are the lessons I've learned that has helped us and our clients to be the most successful. Again, being creative and really understanding those platforms, being consistent is so important. But more important to me is taking all of these and putting them together into what works for you and your brand. Everybody isn't doing food. You know, how does commercial bank? You know, how are you going to get Gordon Ramsay to do that to you? You're probably not. That's not realistic. What is? And that's figuring that out for each and every one of your businesses is setting realistic goals and taking these different principles you're learning about and incorporating just a little bit into each one, or a little bit of each one into your content. And I promise you'll start seeing better success. Now, I told y'all if you don't have some questions, I'm going to start asking random people for questions. All right, Casey?
The will, do you ever stop it on what you want to do, or is it always random?
Next question. So the first time we did it, I pretty much, it was like I remember what it was, like being a cheeseburger and getting a burger, so I didn't get to do it, and I did it like 3 times because none of it made sense. The goal of that series, which has been really good for us, is to start getting people involved. So pulling somebody off the street saying, what's your favorite? Let them spin it live. We're 3 videos into that with a lot of success, but I haven't been able to have the time really to do that. I want to take it to different places and have people spin it. I want to call the D-list celebrity chefs that I've been able to meet and get them to do it and start engaging. Again, if I get a big name chef on there, that's more engagement. They're going to see that face and that's more likely to have retention. So stacking those principles now. But yes, I have twice now because it wasn't going to work out. Should have known better. Now, again, it's still an enticing piece of content, so I don't think it's not being authentic. And that's one of the biggest things for our brand that I've really is authenticity and transparency. If you're not authentic, people know real quick. I always say the best form of marketing, which is non-debatable, is word of mouth. Everybody, you can't prove that wrong. If you have a good product, people will find out eventually. If you have a bad product, they'll find out even faster. You've never left a good review for, you've never been on Delta, had a good flight and left a review, but if they lost your bags, it's a terrible flight, a lot of turbulence, you're quick to get on that review. So for us, it's being authentic, but every now and then you gotta bend the rules a little bit. So.
You make it look authentic.
Oh, you couldn't tell. It's the magic of video. Any other questions? Yes.
First, this is amazing, like so thankful for information. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to see if you could make I love what I just made face after somebody like about eating.
So.
But that would make me so happy if you could.
The dramatic side of things, especially on TikTok. Oh, Mallory, you can film this. I did it once, and one of my friends was joking about it, and then they got to expecting it every time. I would take a bite and just be as dramatic as possible and go, just whatever it is, just super dramatic. And if anything, I would get people to make fun of me. Now, you talk about engagement. I want to go back to this video real quick. I will do a lot of that stuff. You know, I'm a home cook. I didn't go to culinary school. I don't pretend to be. I want to help people be the best home chef they can be. It's kind of like my goal, I guess, with all this. I make mistakes, and when I do that, I leave it in there. And sometimes, as you'll see here, there's an eggshell that gets dropped into the egg. Of course, I took it out, but I don't show that. There's 100 comments on that video saying, did anybody else see the eggshell in there? So when I do make mistakes, I always try to, I'm leaving that in there. I guess it's already happened, but that gets more comments, that draws engagement. Same thing with the little crazy. It can't be that good. I get 100 comments on that. So it does serve some value, I guess, but.
No, I love it. I love watching all cooking shows and seeing how they respond to what they make. And you
I appreciate it.
Good.
I appreciate it.
But I just still want you to do it right now.
Yes. Oh.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so I have dabbled with the AI. Don't really know how to use it, to be quite frankly honest. What are your tips for prompting AI to get because you have some really your creative title for today. But what kind of prompts?
Yeah. So everybody jokes that, for people in my business, that AI is going to take my job. And sure, it can do what I've done in the past a lot quicker. And that's great for me and for the client. For the client, they're getting a cheaper rate because I can do it in half the time. That'll never take our jobs, but it will create a new job. If you couldn't hear her, she asked about these prompts that you put into these AI tools. That in itself is a skill set that I think will be taught in college within the next 10 years. The people who are good at that are so talented, and it takes a lot of trial and error. A lot of times, going back to thinking about Facebook as a product, thinking about the AI tool as what it is. It's a machine. It's trying to read us, but we can only give information. It takes a lot of trial and error, and the best resources for this are YouTube, of course. I always say YouTube's the best source for education there is anything. I've spent a lot of hours just playing around with stuff. A good example is Allegro. We've done a lot of work with Allegro where For example, there'll be a header picture of the flavor that they're promoting that month. We might do a Thanksgiving themed thing. Well, I can go into Midjourney and generate an image from a prompt. Give me a 16:9 ratio, shot on a 24 millimeter lens at f1.8, golden hour lighting with it lit from the behind it, and I can have a 12-inch tall glass bottle sitting there as the center point. So I can go in the studio, light the Allegro bottle the same way, and then Photoshop it and blend it, and that's great. It took me hours to be able to get an image that was lit properly, and to be quite honest with you, it just takes a lot of trial and error. And going back to that, I think that's a skill that is going to be taught in school sooner rather than later, because all that AI is a tool if it's used right. But it's not as easy as just getting on there and hitting go. It takes a lot of trial and error, quite frankly. It's a great question. Yes. Ooh. You first. You, Blue. I don't know your name. I know Elizabeth.
You said that you were gonna talk about your failures and stuff. Could you pick like one failure that made you learn the most about what you changed with your marketing and how you incorporated it?
I can't quite hear you. Sorry, the fans left. Can you say a little bit louder?
Which of your failures? We work together.
Gotcha. Oh, geez. Anytime there's a lot of money involved and you don't get results, you learn really quick. Going back to being consistent and trying to I'm a go-getter. I like to talk myself up. And I told my wife, I said, I'm gonna post a video every day for a year. It's not realistic. I don't care if I had double the staff I had. It might have been realistic then. And then I try to cut it in half, saying, well, every other day, because the other one's gonna be short form, then it'll be long form. So that's a new video every day. I learned a lot from that. I think in general though, it's just learning from, and even your successes. Why did that work? One of the greatest things about social media as a form of marketing, you can't get those analytics that social media gives you for just about anything else. Even if you have an average piece of content or a really good piece of content, going and looking at those analytics and studying them and asking why it worked and seeing what didn't work. The more you dive into it, you can go to your competitor's page on Facebook and go to About and hit Transparency and then Ad Library, and you can see what ads they're running. Go look at the comments it's getting. Is it getting engagement on the sponsored post? Seeing what works. One of the greatest creative tools is Steal Like an Artist. And there's a whole book I've got back here that it's all about that. Apple was huge about that. See what works and what doesn't work, and see what your competitors and colleagues are doing is one of the best ways to predict the outcome of your next campaign, if you will. So in general though, I think it's just having that time set aside to, good or bad, analyze why it worked or why it didn't for every success and failure, whatever scale it is. If I made my wife mad, she really wants me to analyze why I made her mad so I don't do that again. Even on a small scale, but on a big scale, when there's money involved, that's when it's really tough. That's when you really learn quick. Elizabeth, do you have something?
Yeah, so just piggybacking off of that, we're all like in different industries and busy every day. How did you realize what you needed to do to become stronger in your strategies and posting, and just try to streamline that process a little better? Kind of like how Facebook lets us manage our weekly posts, but we can't do that with YouTube yet, as far as setting up YouTube videos for every day. We have to do it the day of. So how did you do that, and what do you feel like works best for you?
Well, so in a nutshell, we look at what resources we have and what's realistic. Again, going back to setting realistic expectations. Whenever we find something works, we try to double down on it, of course. But you also have to set time aside. That's why these platforms change constantly. That's why we have 4 core values at Grove Media: quality, transparency, value, and education. And education not being my most important one. That's why if you work here, I want you to have 1 hour a week where you go learn something, whether it's at home, whether it's here, and we're in a downtime, go learn something. And hopefully, it might have some time where you're studying these platforms. Go follow accounts that are in that world. Consume yourself with it. You know, your common saying is you're the summation of the 5 of your closest friends or whatever. You are the average of those people. Same thing for the content you follow. If you're following people who are talking about social media strategy, everybody knows Elizabeth Pritchett in here. Go follow her. People like her who are talking about, you know, that's what she does. She studies these things. Go follow her. Spend an hour a week finding people like her that care about that niche topic. And because again, it changes every single week. What worked today will not work tomorrow, and what worked tomorrow won't work in a year. I promise, I posted the videos I first started with, get no traction. But it's important to just set time aside to study these things because it's changing quickly. And it's easier said than done. It's hard to set an hour out of your day. You're supposed to mow the yard, you're supposed to take out the trash and all this. And now I'm supposed to watch a YouTube video on Facebook posting strategies. It's hard to do that, but it's important to do it. I put a lot of value in it. Anything else? Yes.
I have a question, I'm sorry. Okay, so you do a lot of product marketing, obviously. So one thing I feel like I've been just drilled for years is that you don't have people or faces in your content. It's not going to perform as well.
Yeah.
How do you see that play out?
Make the content number one. That's the first thing. Make the content. If you can optimize it as much as you can. I've heard a lot of, if you look at any YouTube thumbnail that we post and that any big creator posts, it's usually something like this. They love faces. On thumbnails, they want to see that. I don't know why. I think there's a lot of psychology behind it, so they push it. They want to see a face, and if there's a crazy reaction face, why does he have that face? Let's go find out. I do think there's some of that on a lot of the platforms. Like if I mention YouTube on a TikTok video, if I even say the word, it doesn't do as well. If I, Lord forbid, I put a link in there, it's not doing anything. So I rarely even say that there's a link in the bio for the full video, even though we're trying more than anything to drive people to YouTube. There is something there, and these platforms do, like you mentioned, putting the faces in it. That's great. If you can't, still make the content. It's still valuable. But if you don't have people who want it, my wife, bless her, she will be in any video I ask her video. Any tourism video, anything. There's a 24-hour policy. I usually have to have a manicure that goes along with it. That may be the case, and y'all don't want to get on camera. That's fine. Still make the content, in whatever capacity you can. If you can't get a face on camera, that's fine, but there is a lot of strategy behind that. I also really think there's a lot of value in people seeing the face of the brand, and especially in small towns like this. The Iron Place, when I see her post, and it's her, it's so authentic, and it's them. Same thing over all these little boutiques over here. And by the way, I heard someone mention there's some cute shops over here. Absolutely, if y'all have some time, go shopping. Getting on camera has some authenticity to it. And people want to see that person, especially when it comes to small business. Y'all know this. Shop small, everybody preaches it. Whenever you see that person out there working their tail off to try to make their business work, you want to support me a little more. When you get to the bigger brands, it's probably not as valuable, but there's so much value in seeing that person working their butt off to be able to do what they do. So being on camera, if you can, I think it's invaluable. But again, go back to what you're good at. Some people, Jay Travis does not need to go on camera. I love him. It's not his thing.
Probably bring it.
Do what?
They'll probably bring it. You can tell it.
Yeah. Not kidding. Anything else? Real quick, Ashley did a tremendous job of organizing all this, and she's on her baby moon. So I told them we're going to take a selfie and send it to her and thank her for helping organize this and all the AAF stuff that she helps with. So if everybody will get up real quick, we're just going to do a big selfie here. All right. Right there's the line.